Hey, what's up, everyone? I am super excited to welcome you to another episode of High Level's Affiliate Insider, where we show you how to unlock your untapped potential with High Level. Today, I have with me Damien Watts. He's a top High Level affiliate, and he's doing some awesome stuff on High Level, even on the white label side. I'm super excited to have him here today. Welcome to the show, Damien.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Damien, can you start off a bit by telling us about who you are and how you found the digital marketing space?
Oh, it's funny. I'm Damien Watts. I live in Dallas, Texas, so where the headquarters is. But right now, I'm actually in LA, and that plays into how I got started in this journey. Ty Lopez was the car in the garage. He was exactly how I got started on this digital marketing journey about 8.5 years ago. And ever since then, we got into the local space where we started, which most go high level people in the entire ecosystem kind of evolves around the local businesses and things of that nature, service based. And then we got into the e-commerce world. And ultimately, once we figured out the margins, the information product space is now where we reside. But the interesting thing that we're doing now is going back into the local space and have some pretty cool things to talk about there that we are doing in the local space with combining all three of them together, local e-com and information. And it is generating some pretty sick revenue throughout the entire internet right now.
Sick. And how long have you been doing local and e-com and everything else?
Okay. So when it comes to local, we were probably there for about 6 months before we were introduced to e-commerce drop shipping. Right around 2016 is when drop shipping was at an all-time high, and then it kind of transpired. Even till today, people are still doing drop shipping at an extremely high level. But the information product space, we got into that about 2018. So we've been doing all of them for multiple years at this point, and we still have local clients under our belt, but it's more in the franchise space than anything.
Totally. Totally. And how does affiliate marketing play into all of this for you?
Well, I mean, it plays into this in a couple of different ways. So on the back end of everything that we do when it comes to affiliate marketing, we are very big into utilizing all the different softwares and things of that nature that you can jump into. Meaning, like when we bring someone into our ecosystem, the very first thing that we do is we introduce the ability for people to become affiliates of whatever it is that we're pushing, right? So whether it's white label, high level, whether it's any other softwares, we're always playing the affiliate marketing game because it gives us the ability to replicate and utilize a referral-based type of mechanism on the back end to bring people into our ecosystems. And with this ecosystem right now, with what we're doing with high level on the back end, since it's so robust and you guys are so customer and product centric, it makes it very easy for us to distribute the all-in-one solution, and we are able to segment the individual features that you guys have a part of this ecosystem and drive home with very tailored specific messaging to that individual feature. So a lot of affiliates, what we see on our side is a lot of affiliates try to go after the broad messaging of go high level and what it does, but we found very key intricacies that we can tailor based on empathy maps, where we build out empathy maps and we really go hard on different pain points and different desires and things that people face. And we break that down based on the individual awareness stages of a buyer's journey. And once we tie that together, that's how we've been plugging and actually crushing the affiliate side of things when it comes to plugging in the empathy maps and the pain points into each individual feature. And we have very specific messaging across our content, across our funnels and things that we're driving people into. And whenever we run our webinars, which I'll get into a little later here, when we run our webinars, they're very specific and it drives home the message that we're trying to get across.
Whoa, you brought up a lot of things all at once, and I love it. I think that I don't even know in which direction to go into. So we'll start here. You hit up on something that I think a lot of affiliates don't really realize, especially when they're promoting high level, right? When you're promoting something like a water bottle or something like that, and like as an e-commerce affiliate, one thing that is really easy is you have one product. So it's really easy in a lot of ways to push towards that. But when you have software, especially like a software like high level, when it has a lot of features, a lot of people love saying all in one, but to the end consumer, they're like, what what does that even mean? Does it do my laundry, or does it do all of these other stuff? Can you go into a bit? You talked about how you figure out the features that are best for your user based off of where they're at in their buyer's journey and how aware they are of the ecosystem. Um, how do you do that? What features do you decide on? Like, can you dive into that a bit?
Now, that was probably the toughest part in the beginning when we first got into the affiliate lane for high level was since high level does so much and is so robust, where do we start, right? And I think that that's where everyone is going to have the epiphany of not understanding where to start, but also knowing that you have unlimited potential. And that's one thing that we're extremely grateful for. So on our side, what we focus on is just kind of listening to the market. Right now, funnel building is something that is extremely important with people trying to start new businesses. So that is one that we play pretty heavy on, and we give out a lot of free templates and things of that nature. So that's an easy one for us to kind of hook someone in with a freebie. The second thing that we really play on is the calendar features. So booking calls, things of that nature. So we really hone in on basically applying AI and calendars together. So we integrate quite a few tools on the back end to high level to give that AI conversational situation. And that is something that is extremely hot right now is the AI piece and having things done automated. And then we really play into the CRM. So keeping up with your leads and things of that nature, keeping everything organized and being able to implement a follow-up system and the pipelines and the opportunities in the CRM then plays into the workflows and automations. So being able to automate those processes. So we typically stay around those core four whenever we're promoting high level. But at the end of the day, when we cast the broad net into the ocean, we're able to get and capture people based on where they are and the needs that they have at that very specific moment. So it's kind of like an omnipresent situation whenever we are looking to run ads on every single platform. It's the same thing with high level. We can cast that broad net, and then wherever a person bites, we can then drag them into our ecosystem. And then once they're in, it's kind of hard to get out.
Totally. And I mean, it's not even that it's hard to get out from like a technical perspective. It's like, hey, you solved my problems. Why would I want to go back, you know? What I love about the features that you brought up are those are some of high level's core features. It once you're part of the high level ecosystem, you see that there's 5 new features dropped daily, and a lot of these are shiny objects, right? Like they can be really distracting, but a lot of business owners at the end of the day just need things organized. They just need a way to target those things. And so what I think that like when you talk about pain points, it's really easy for people to be like, oh, if you have a calendar pain point, like and you're upset with your calendar, I could help you out with that. But most business owners don't actually know that they're frustrated with their calendar or their CRM. How do you determine what stage people are at then so that you could market to them?
So if anyone here is unaware of the 5 stages of awareness when it comes to advertising, we play on that with everything that we do, and then we implement that with empathy maps. So we tie those two together on our side. So it's an in-house process that we do whenever we're scaling brands. So just to kind of break it down for you, we go into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is like our right hand at this point for everything that we do. We go into ChatGPT and we have a prompt that we put into the base, and it is essentially the niche. We plug in the niche, we plug in the product, et cetera, whatever it may be, and then from there we go and capture the unaware, the aware, the product aware, solution aware, and then the most aware. We take those and we break those down individually. Okay. And once we break those down, we then segment those and say, okay, I want the top 10 pain points for the unaware stage and each individual stage. And once we break that down that way, now we're capturing people and speaking directly to them based on where they are in that buyer's journey. So then once we plug in the products, that is what gives us the ability to really speak and have a direct message to them. So when you talk about tying that in with the features, we just take, okay, the niche is, let's just call it solar, and the problems that they may be facing, et cetera. We pull that from each individual thing based on where they are. And at that point, now I'm speaking directly to them when they're unaware all the way to the most aware as they're going through that buyer's journey. And the messaging is just so clear because I'm speaking directly to them based on where they are. So when we cast that broad net out, it just gives us the ability to catch them where they are, and then drag them down the rest of the process.
Sick. And I know that what I'm about to say might sound a little rudimentary for ChatGPT enthusiasts, but to me, as someone who's like still very new to this space, this is really exciting because I feel like one issue that I've had with AI is that you tell it like, "Hey, can you come up with a sales message for Mary who lives in Connecticut?" And it'll be super broad. It won't be the best, like, but I didn't really feed it with all the best things. But if you're telling it its pain points, you have the next 10 steps, you have the softwares that could help out. Suddenly, the message that AI could craft for Marion, Connecticut could be really strong. And I might be getting a bit ahead of ourselves here, but when you integrate that with high level and you leverage high level in your workflows to be able to send those messages, to be able to try and book appointments for these people, it becomes a really interesting beast that you've got here on your hands.
Oh yeah. People will be surprised if they saw the things that we're doing on the inside of high level. And that's the benefit of being an affiliate of this particular platform. Okay. You have unlimited possibilities and capabilities when it comes to your imagination. Right. So there may be some things that you may have to develop on top. But here's the thing, even if you develop on top of Go High Level, eventually they're going to catch up and they're going to develop it. And then it's just obsolete because they're so product centric and they're so fast with their development process. You might as well just sit back and just wait because eventually it's going to come. If there's something on the market, Go High Level is very, very aggressive. And I love that they're that aggressive because everybody here, at the end of the day, our number one pain point that people face is, especially in today's economy, is software stacking and how much it costs. So saving money. So that is something that we play on as far as one of our top pain points is, are you tired of overspending on softwares? And Go High Level has everything that you could possibly need to build a 5, 6, 7 figure per year business.
Totally. And I feel like it's for a lot of businesses, I see that sometimes it's not even that they're just tired of the cost of software in terms of dollars. Sometimes it's time. I'm tired of switching tabs, of zapping everything together, of trying to hire developers. So that makes a ton of sense. Is this your main talk when you talk to people when you're running your webinars? Like,
So whenever we're running our webinars, so again, like this may be a little too far-fetched in advance for a person that's just now getting into this space, but we are very, very big into segmentation. So we have multiple webinars for multiple pain points so that we can attract the people and speak directly to them. So the big problem that most people may face is Go High Level, the pros and cons. The cons is it's so robust and it has so many features, right? So then that can overwhelm people. So we took that approach and said, okay, instead of overwhelming people, how can we take the top 5 features, put out individual webinars speaking on each, but at the same time within those webinars, handle the objections that they may be thinking about forward facing or that may come about forward facing. So we put out a webinar on CRM and management. We put out a webinar on funnel development, how you can connect everything together, webinars on each individual topic that we see that's best fit. And then from that point, we have very tailored messaging all the way through that is specifically around the top 10 pain points that we pull from the actual ChatGPT research. And that is how we embed it into the process of the webinars. And then from there, we just hit them with an irresistible offer at the end and you can get the trials and all those things. And it makes it very easy to sell.
that makes a ton of sense. And so for let's say that someone's running a webinar for their first time. They're like, Damien, I get it. This is going to be a huge thing for me to do, but I want to see how I could do it. How did you prepare for your first webinar, knowing what the people's first objection was going to be for, let's say, AI and calendar feature?
Got it. So for us, I mean, we've been doing webinars for years at this point. So the preparation is, again, we just know, so like we're huge fans of AI. Okay. So a lot of the things that we do is all based around Claude or ChatGPT, et cetera. And like Kelsey mentioned in the beginning, some people may just go and try to have a conversation with AI, but we understand your output is only as good as your input. So we have very strategic prompts that we put in place to extrapolate what we need on our side. So when it comes to building our webinars, we just take our prompts and we just plug it in and it just builds it all out. So I hate to make it so simple because it's not that simple. But when it comes to understanding how to craft the webinar to take a person through a journey, It's just understanding the psychological behaviors, telling your story, really tugging on those pain points and plugging them into the right spots. And then with offer stacking on the back end, we're able to take all of the features and all the things that high level does and really just hit home. But the way that we do it, and something that you guys can take from this, is anytime we're doing webinars, when it comes to the offer stack, the offer itself is not the most attractive thing. The bonuses are the most attractive portion of a webinar. So when it comes to that offer stacking and the bonuses, we make the offer seem less attractive, and we make the bonuses seem like it's the best thing since ice cream. So for example, if we're talking about AI and the calendars, we may say, hey, well, you can have your funnels and your CRM and all these things here. But then we say, okay, we have this AI conversational bot that'll help you take those leads and push them further down the pipeline. We may have calendar features be the next bonus, and then we just keep stacking the bonuses. But what makes it really worth it is if you have another skill set or something that you're doing on your side. On our side, we're advertising experts. We understand individual niches a lot better than a lot of people because we work with hundreds of brands. So we take individual components of different things like funnel templates, free advertising, lead generation courses, and all these other different components that you can tie into it. Because if I'm talking about AI and calendars, well, what's something that could benefit and be a bonus? Well, let me help you fill up that calendar. So we take those individual pieces and add those as bonuses. And then that just, anytime you're talking about an offer, if you're an affiliate, you got to think that there's hundreds of other affiliates, thousands of other affiliates. So what separates you from others? And we're very competitive. So we want to add in any other specific things that is for this particular type of audience. And we just overload it with value because we understand that this is a recurring model. So getting them in the door is going to lead to, for us, I believe that the churn rate it should be very low if you onboard properly and explain how this benefits. And then if they get that first result, that's one thing that is very, very important on the webinars for everyone to understand. Inside of our process, we map out a success path. So we basically future pace them of what's about to happen before they buy. So this is the first step. We're going to do this. You're going to set up your domain. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. So we go down that sequential process, and then they have an understanding of, I know exactly what I'm buying. I know exactly what comes next. And then whenever they get into the ecosystem, it's a matter of, can they execute or not?
Love that. Love that. I think that you're calling out some really great things. And I want to make sure I emphasize before we move on, though, for any new affiliates, and correct me if I'm wrong, Damien, but when Damien's saying like, hey, you have to figure out your own unique offer, it doesn't mean just because Damien offers onboarding, you should figure out something other than onboarding. It's how can you make that onboarding unique to you, unique for your value propositions? How can you make it so that if you're targeting specifically vegan restaurant owners, how can you make sure that it's specifically for your niche? And that's how you can make it unique. It doesn't have to be the entire structure that's different, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. And that's what we do. So like now that we're getting, as I mentioned in the beginning, now that we're getting back into local, we're going to have dentist specific onboarding, and we're going to narrow it down to the individual lane that we're looking to go after, because it is a replicatable process. Most businesses need a funnel. Most businesses need a CRM. So you just have to tailor it and understand, again, I'm very broad because I know how to get into the individual lane. So if you have your own specific lane that you want to go into, like Kelsey mentioned, a vegan restaurant or a med spa or a lawn care service, whatever it is, just tailor it towards that niche. And one other thing that we do that's very key is we do research on the front end around that individual niche so that we can speak the language. So when they come into our world, if we're talking about veneers for dentists, if we're talking about injections for med spas, we keep it very tailored to that individual niche. And then it's not like, oh, well, this is for everybody. It's no, I'm speaking directly to you. So we do our research on the front end before we even put the webinars together, which then gives us a slight advantage when it comes to making a person, just nudge them just a little bit more over that finish line.
Totally agreed. I know that when I first started working in the agency space, one mistake that I made is that I was trying to pitch a client and I asked if they needed help booking appointments, but they don't book appointments. They book consultations. They book, so One thing that I used to be a huge fan of is working within the niches you're familiar with. If you love Botox, maybe figure out how to do it with med spas, and stuff like that. Um, why'd you go local?
So this right here is some secret sauce. But I love this company and I love everything that they stand for. And I'm a ride or die high leveler. Okay. I come from the ClickFunnels world, and this is no shade, no anything. ClickFunnels made us a lot of money, but there is nothing that competes with high level. Okay. We generated over $600 million at this point for brands and businesses. And Go High Level is the most intriguing thing that I've seen since getting into the digital marketing space, because of what you're able to do within one platform. So for us on our side, the reason why we went back into local is because, again, like I mentioned, I'm very big into direct response, and being able to tie the information product space world into the local space and turn them into local celebrities is extremely attractive. Okay. And why is that attractive? The reason why I got out of the local space is because of the scale. There's not a lot of scale. You have a 50-mile radius. Yes, you can reach everyone and become that local celebrity, but the margins weren't there, number one. And the scalability wasn't there, which is why we transitioned into e-commerce, because now we can go domestic and global. So now we're coming back into local because we do understand that it is a replicatable process. So if you have a med spa in Texas and you got one in California, you can probably replicate the same process. But what we're doing now is we're turning these individual business owners, but we are being very picky about this. We need someone who is charismatic. We need someone who we can turn into an attractive character. Okay. And then once we find that attractive character, we then implement our, I call it the best ecosystem ever created. I'm a lucid chart, I'm a mind map guy, and I created all these processes from working with all these different niches and things of that nature. And now we're plugging these attractive characters into that ecosystem and helping them learn how to do webinars, learn how to do low ticket offers, funnels, all of these individual things. And they're taking that model and then they're spreading it to that individual niche. So for example, my business partner has a dentist that is, I think he's in Wyoming. I'm not sure where he is, but let's just say Wyoming. And this dentist is now running webinars teaching other dentists how to sell services. So veneers, Invisaligns, et cetera. So now every single webinar, he's getting 30 to 50 people. Doesn't sound like a lot, but he's doing over $100,000 per month because he's getting these people to come in. And now we're taking everything with information products and plugging it into this local space. Direct mail, teaching them how to do direct mail properly, showing them how to do webinars, showing them how to properly structure their offers, showing them how to recruit and build teams. So we're doing a lot of things within the local space that we're able to pull and extract from the information product businesses that we're building. And it's working really, really well.
That makes complete sense. I think that there's the general stuff, and then there's always a ton of exceptions. But for a lot of people, if you're trying to go and talk about a lot of different features and help people out really with everything all in one spot, for a lot of people running an agency for the first time or who really want to get into the nitty gritty, it's really, really helpful to be local and to focus on more of an area so that you are niching down, but it's not a niche. It's like a location or an area to become that local celebrity. But if you're going to go big, you kind of want to have more things. The strategy that you have here is great. I'm really enjoying it. I think that it's really cool. And so in that theme of being that celebrity and helping people out with a bunch of stuff, going back to one of the first topics you brought up, you talked about how you're not just an affiliate for High Level, but you also pitch other softwares as well, right? Is this usually when you'll pitch other things and do like true affiliate marketing of all of these stuff? Is it once people hit that level, or is it also earlier in the process?
For us, it's later in the process. It's not earlier. The only thing that we may bring into the ecosystem is tracking and attribution. That may be the only thing that we bring in, but that also depends on, is it an information product business that we're affiliating to Go High Level, or is it a local business? Because with local, Go High Level has all of the features that you could potentially need to run and track your business. From a global standpoint, when it comes to the information product space, there's a few things that are a little bit difficult to kind of track when it comes to understanding where things are coming from and being able to pinpoint those dollars back to it. So we typically introduce, depending on the niche, the only one that we'll introduce is Hyros. That's the only other platform that we'll bring in early. But outside of that, our affiliations with other platforms has almost vanished at this point because Go High Level keeps doing things like with communities. Now they offer communities and you can build those in-house and they're continuing to get better and better. And it's just like, well, dang, I don't think I can send them to school or to Circle because Go High Level has it right here in one platform. So, you know, my affiliations are continuing to dwindle because everything is being pushed to one platform. But if we are going to introduce something, it always comes after the fact. After the fact.
Got it. Great problem to have. Personally, selfishly, I wasn't sure if you were an affiliate for other softwares like a Photoshop or something like that, but that makes a lot
No,
of
just
sense.
AI tools. Like
Okay.
HeyGen is one that we utilize pretty often, and we affiliate through that. And then on the back end, custom GPTs. That's another one that we affiliate with pretty significantly because everyone wants their own AI conversational coach, is what we call them. Some people call them bots. But we program these conversational coaches, especially for the local businesses, where it basically replicates all of their services, turns them into customer service bots, things of that nature, and then we just plug those in. So like those are some of the only things that we really go hard on that are still relevant, and that's something that we push pretty heavily. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, we used to be affiliates to a lot of platforms just because how big our base is as far as our clientele and their audiences, et cetera. So it's pretty easy to kind of become an affiliate there. But right now, our main push is High Level because it's the most attractive, number one, and it's the stickiest.
Got it. Makes sense. I want to get a little technical if that's okay.
That's absolutely.
Uh, have you noticed a big difference in leveraging different types of LLMs for figuring out the empathy points and pain points and how to tackle different potential customers?
And just for the audience, can you break that down, LLM?
Oh yeah. I just felt like, I finally learned something in a podcast, so I wanted to show off. LLMs are different language learning models. So for my understanding, this is a great education moment. Let me know if I'm wrong. It's kind of like different almost AI languages. Like every AI can kind of learn on its own. So a lot of these different softwares, Bard, custom ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, they all have a different language model that they're using on the back end. Sometimes they'll swap out and use each other, but sometimes they'll just focus in on their own. And a lot of really technical people will say like, oh, it's because it was coached this way. This one's better for this or better for that or better for different languages. I mostly use it for recipes and other really innocuous, innocent things. So I wanted to see for you in a very very specific, like people's businesses are depending on this. Do you see a difference? Do you have a preference? What's your take on that?
There is a difference, but it still all kind of goes back to the inputs and outputs, right? So like, how are you? So like, if you're talking about
Mhm.
custom GPTs on our side, it's what are you feeding the machine for it to then be able to spit back out what it is that you're looking for. We go very, very hard on trying to be as detailed as possible. So like, so for example, let's say that I wanted to create a Kelsey bot. Okay. I wanted to help Kelsey with her recipes and I needed to program this so that it can understand how to, your tonality, what you like, things of that nature. So giving it the information, you would get different responses with each individual AI tool. So Claude gives you very different responses than ChatGPT. Okay. But for me, when I'm having like I legitimately have conversations with GPT. Okay. Sometimes I don't do prompts. Sometimes I just go in and have a person to person or a person to AI conversation. And I'm able to just have communication. And since I know all the pieces to the puzzle, I'm able to kind of pull out what I need. But when it comes to like building out that bot for you and your recipes, I would literally interview you and just I want you to walk me down every single recipe that you know from top to bottom. Okay. Let's say it's 10 of them. I would take those and then I would also add into that why are you making it that way? So that now I can get your why behind it. So now I have what it is, and now I'm getting the why. And then I would get the how. So what pots and pans are you using? Like, what are you using to do it? Are you using an oven, air fryer, etc.? So I would extract as much information from you as possible to then put into a document to then feed into the AI. So that's how we kind of communicate with these AI platforms, is pulling as much as we can, telling a story, feeding it you as an individual so that it can learn your tone and personality and all the different things that we would need. And then I would hand this over to you if I was selling this as a product, because that's another thing that people are doing. They're selling and building these AI bots and just pushing them off to businesses. And the most that I've seen being sold for right now is about $7,500. So a lot of capabilities there. But as far as like the different LLMs, I think that I don't really notice a huge difference. I do know that Claude is kind of like, I think that it's better than most of them, but I'm still a huge ChatGPT fan just because I know how to communicate with it. It's kind of like Facebook and Google. Like, which one do you like better? They both do the same thing, but which one do you want to utilize for your business? And even if you know how to do both, maybe you master one and maybe one gets you a different result. Like if you're local based, Google ads are really good, but Facebook ads can also work. So it's kind of like the AI tools that are out there. They all work. They all have their own individual uh, unique features, but it's just a matter of how you communicate with these individual platforms.
Ah, interesting. So like a metaphor for digital marketers could be that, like when you're switching between TikTok and Instagram Reels and you realize that you're kind of doing the same thing, but you're doing it for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the algorithm is just different and it could just pop out something different and you could want one day and want one the other. That makes
Absolutely.
sense. Cool. I feel like this was really helpful. This talking about how to leverage AI to be able to go through all of your data, help you figure out a process for people. Because surprise, like a lot of people have been experiencing the same exact pain points, and there's some pretty widely known ways to tackle it, but you can really curate a unique solution. Oh, could you hear my, did I, is my thing okay? Is my service
You
okay?
chopped out just a tad bit. Can you hear me okay? But now you're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yep,
cool.
you're all good.
All good. Let me start. Um, I think that everything that you're saying is super helpful, like how to leverage AI to genuinely find the best, um, the best answers here to provide support for your customers and clients without it being emotional, like truly data centric, be able to have it be data backed. That is always the best place to be. What do you think was the biggest mistake you made while going down this path?
Ooh, I feel like I made a lot. Just because of my digital background nature, optimizations and just throwing things against the wall, hoping that it sticks and cleaning it up on the way down. That's kind of our approach. But I think the biggest mistake that I made, especially when it comes to affiliations and things of that nature, is not having a clear message and being too broad. I think that was probably the biggest thing, is trying to reach everyone just because it can help all businesses. In the beginning, my mentors and everyone on the internet would tell you niche down, niche down, niche down. That's where the scale is, blah, blah, blah. So I fought that for the longest. I legitimately, from 2015 and probably until about 2 months ago, it was be as broad as possible because this works across the board for everyone. But now I'm still going to have that approach, but it's just I'm going to take that same approach and just narrow it down to individual niches. So I'm very aggressive in the insurance space right now. So I want to go after insurance agents. I'm very aggressive with real estate agents. I want to go after them as well. So I'm really going to get niche down, but I'm just not going to have one niche. I'm just going to have multiple niches, because once you figure out the process and how to sell, that's when you can get into some serious scale. So I think that the biggest mistake that I made was just being too broad. When it comes to selling the features, it's like, oh, it'll do everything for you. Well, okay, well, where do I start? And then it's just like, then, you can get stuck because it's so many things. Well, do you need a calendar, or do you need a funnel? Like, you can start with all these things, but again, for me, segmentation has been key when it comes to um, getting over that hump of being too broad when it comes to all the different things that Go High Level can do.
That makes a ton of sense. Thank you so much. And as we look into this next year, what's the biggest thing that you're trying to tackle as you continue to scale?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is based on right now where we are with the economy and what I kind of see transpiring in the information product space. And the reason I bring up the information product space is because that's my main niche. I go after content courses, course creators, consultants, et cetera, et cetera. The biggest thing that I'm seeing right now from a shift standpoint and where I see things heading is giving as much free value on the front end and then hiding and masking everything on the back end of that free value. So our biggest strategy right now when it comes to driving traffic and affiliations and getting people into our ecosystem is we're running a model right now that we've already integrated into all of our brands where we are running traffic, whether it's organic, paid shout outs, paid ads, etc., into a free community. Okay. Inside of that free community, for me, just to kind of give you my process and what I'm doing, I have a company called Digital Hustlers. Okay. And with Digital Hustlers, I have it broken down into newbie hustlers, rising hustlers, and scaling hustlers. That is all segmented into different revenue ranges that a person basically is at 0 to 10,000, 25,000 to 100, 100 to a million. Okay. Those are the three buckets. But when a person comes into my free community, I basically run them through a survey so that they can drop into the individual buckets so they can have very specific tailored messaging within that bucket. So I don't want my newbies communicating basic questions inside of my hustler scaling hustlers because it doesn't resonate. Okay. So I keep the newbies over here, the rising and the scaling all separate. And from within there, I take them all through their own individual success paths. Okay. So what are the top 7 things that I can do to get someone to their desired result? For newbies, it's probably getting a funnel live or getting a lead magnet optimized so that they can get something up and running. For a rising hustler, it's probably it could be a multitude of things, but optimizing their current offers, figuring out ways to scale, what type of content they can create, and adding in email and automation so that they can follow up with their people. And then with the scaling hustlers, it's more about diversifying their offers and scaling their offers. So now, once they get into that ecosystem and they get through that success path, then I'm offering them a free webinar or a free Zoom meeting or a free challenge on the back end of that to then push them into the affiliations. So you have 2 different choices here if you're looking into a model where you're trying to get people in, where you can deliver value. And this is where we house all of our go high level situations. So when a person comes in, we're forcing indoctrination into this is the platform that we use to bring people into our ecosystem. This is the platform where we build all of our funnels. This is the platform where we do all of our CRM and manage our contacts. So we give them the free trial on the front end within that 30-day period. So now they're coming in within 30 days, they should be all the way through their success path. And then when it clicks, we've already embedded so many things into their daily lives. It's kind of hard to start from scratch or start over because they've already gained so much momentum. So once we get them in, now it's let's figure out the next step, which is the webinars, challenges, or whatever the case may be. And from there, you can sell the affiliations, you can sell your products, you can sell your hot ticket products. So that's what we're doing. We're driving with free, giving them as much value as possible on the front end to get them to their end result or their first result. When I say end, I mean like that first result. Once they get that first result out of the way, then the go high level fee kicks in or the platform comes in after that trial that you have. And then we're driving them how we want into paid traffic, paid challenges, into webinars, into Zooms, over delivering there. And then we're driving them into individual offers or driving them into again, this is where I mentioned earlier, you can have it on the front end or you can have it on the back end. If we have it on the front, then they're in and then we push products. If we do it on the back end, after that success path is over, then we push them into an affiliation of high level. So we have 2 different methods that we're utilizing there, but that is working regardless of if you're doing affiliations, if you're selling products, that is working extremely well for us right now. And we're building some really, really big free communities.
Surprise, giving people a ton of value and helping them solve their problems works really well.
Really,
No, awesome. Like I feel like you really added a lot of context there that's probably really well needed for people who are trying to figure out the structure for how they're going to scale as an affiliate. So I super appreciate your time. Loved
absolutely.
having you on. I feel like we didn't have enough time. I wanted to go over empathy maps, awareness stages, and people's pain points a little bit more. And if anybody's feeling similarly to me, where could they find you to kind of learn more from you or be part of your community or stuff?
Yeah, right now we're actually in the process of launching a new one, but you can just find me on Instagram at Damien Watts 9. That's where a lot of my things and a lot of my prolificness that's about to come out because I've been behind the scenes for so long. But that's where a lot of my value is going to be dropped. But we are just now about to launch the Value Vault. And it's just going to be obviously the name. We're just going to be dropping a ton of value for affiliates, for people who are looking to run their businesses. And this right here is no pitch. It's just we're really trying to give back a ton of value to just get people off the ground, get them making money. Because at the end of the day, for us, and everyone here will have their own goals. I know the end goal of every single person if they want to scale. So I can give away free templates and free, here's how you run your ads and here's how you do this. I can give all that stuff away for free because that's not my end goal. My end goal is, a much bigger vision. So that's what we're looking for on our side is just how can we help this community? Because again, we just believe in the software. And I hate to sound cliche, but this is the best software I believe on the planet at this point. Does the softwares have its own, pros and cons, its mishaps, etc. It's tech. Everything does, right? But in this instance, I haven't found anyone that can compete. And I'm extremely excited. And if there's anything that I can do to help any affiliates out there, I'm more than willing to do that for this community.
You're awesome. Thank you so much, Damien, both for your kind words and everything that you're going to be doing to help people continue to find success with their business and also help people find success as affiliates. Uh, until next time.